As you just saw, I just wrapped up a shoot with the brand new Nisi F4 and my Canon R6. In this video, we're testing out the lens and see what it has to offer for filmmakers. So kicking it off with the key features of this lens. Number one, it is a small lens, which is a tough ask for the Canon RF system. That is also wide angle. Number two, it is a 15mm equivalent, and it can mount to Canon RF, E mount, and Fuji X mount. But the Fuji, you'll get a slight crop. Number three, it is an f4 aperture lens. It would have been nice to see it in 2.8, but it will probably make it slightly larger. Number four, it has a 72mm filter thread, which you can use a step-up ring if you have 82mm filters or 77, but all around you can mount some filters that are circular to this lens, which is a huge plus. It is an all-metal construction, which also includes the lens hood that it comes included, and that's great, especially for the price. And finally, number 5 or 6, I forgot, it creates some sunstars. So if you see the sun behind me, you can see those little streaks that come out of it. And currently I'm shooting at f8, but you can also get a similar effect if I move it down to f4, like so. Pretty neat. It also has a minimum focus distance of 20 centimeters. So with all these pros, what's the catch? Well, number one, it's an autofocus lens that doesn't have autofocus. And number two, it's an IS lens that doesn't have IS. So it doesn't have both of those things. And for some, this may be a deal breaker. For others, you might just have to rely on focus peaking, magnification, and your in-body image stabilization. So continuing on with some of the trade-offs, as I already mentioned, it doesn't have autofocus or IS. Another thing is that if you did want the metadata of, say, what aperture you're shooting, it doesn't have any connection points at the back connected to your camera, so you won't get that data of the aperture. Next up, the lens hood doesn't really click in, so you can kind of twist it slightly. And also, second that, the Nisi at the front is slightly crooked. As this photo pops up, you'll see like the inlineness with the Canon on the camera versus the Nisi on the lens isn't so perfectly lined up, which is slightly annoying. I'm not sure if it's just this demo model or if it's the other ones as well, but if you have one of these, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Moving on to the lens itself, it has a nice smooth focus ring and an aperture ring below that, but it only has 6 increments out of f4 to all the way to 22. So if you wanted to go to say 6.3, you kind of have to put it in between an increment, which it doesn't really hold very well. So that is only one thing, but I tend to use mainly these ones, f4, 5.6, f8, and f11. I think those are pretty good. This lens also does those sunstars, and like I said, I think at the beginning, it's really a personal preference thing. So if you do like it, then you're gonna have a great time with this lens. If you don't like it, unfortunately, there's no way to turn it off. So wrapping this video up, this lens is a killer. The fact that it's so small, it's metal construction, it's under $1,000, and you can mount a filter to the front and say shoot outside if you're shooting videos is pretty cool. You will have to get used to the manual focus if you use autofocus a lot. Or even just taking selfies, you kind of just got to gauge it a little bit more. Another thing to add to the lens, you can't actually take off the lens hood without taking off the cap. Weird, right? you're still here, thanks for sticking around. The next video I'm going to be posting is on my brand new small rig matte box. So if you want to watch that, make sure you subscribe or just watch it if it's already out by now. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Bye.